Hi, everyone. Welcome to this event for Walk the Talk for Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion. I'm so happy to be here with you all. And before we head into the program, I would just like to ask if you are there, because we've sent out invitations and we have more than 200 sign-ups for this event. So it would be really nice to hear and see who is watching and where you're from. And if you have any expectations, so please add that in the chat and I will just pick them up. So the theme is that we need to walk the talk for diversity, equality, and inclusion. And it is becoming so clear that diversity and gender equality and inclusion are keys to more profitable and sustainable companies. And when employees feel included, they are more engaged. And this higher engagement has a ripple effect on profitability and also team morale and retention. And diverse teams can also better identify products and services that fit the needs of emerging customer profiles, as well as also raise skills and increase the creation of new innovations. So actually, at the end of the event, I will also share some facts, some real facts, figures about this, about the profitable companies and how much profitable they are and so on. So let's see, we have some guests here. Dr. Valek from Hungary. Hello. Servus. I know a little bit Hungarian. Egy kicsit tudok magyarul, because my parents are actually from Budapest. So it's really nice to have you here. And let's see, we have Eva Boynton from Lund. She's also going to share her insights and knowledge with us. And let's see, we have Ann-Charlotte Huber from Sweden. Charlotte Weding, hello. Yeah, I can see there are a lot of people that I recognize. Robert, welcome. And Mohammed and Monica, welcome you all. Jose from Rio de Janeiro, from Brazil. Wow, this is so exciting when people meet from all over the place, from all over the world, and share insights and knowledge. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Eva Vati, and I'm entrepreneur, but also a business strategist, and I help executive companies and entrepreneurs to future-proof their companies. And what we do is to integrate the sustainable development goals into the business strategy. And also in that is the gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. I also believe that the future is equal, and I'm on a mission to spread the message of daring to lead on a global scale. I'm founder for 3 companies now, which one of them is the first consultancy in the world giving certification on integrating sustainability into business strategy. So that's really short about me. And let's see, we have Patricia, welcome. Oh, it's so nice to have you here. And also Jesta, welcome to the event. So we are going to talk about gender diversity, equality, and inclusion. And I have invited some special guests who's all certified change leaders now for the program that I have been piloting. So this was a program that I got funding from Vinnova to start up this program as a pilot, and I invited 10 course participants, and now here are 6 of them actually who has done the course together with me, and also shared knowledge and insights from their previous work and their previous knowledge. So I'm so happy to have them here so that they can share their insights and knowledge, because they have worked a lot with diversity, equality, and inclusion. I would also like to tell you a little bit about the women empowerment principles, because this program is a merge of the women empowerment principles and the sustainable development goals. So the Women Empowerment Principles, have you ever heard about it? It's also called WEPS, WEPS. So it is a set of principles, 7 principles, offering guidance to business on how to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the workplace, but also in the marketplace and the community. And these principles were established by UN Global Compact and UN Women, and the WEPs are informed by international labor and human rights standards and grounded in the recognition that businesses have a stake in and a responsibility for gender equality and women's empowerment. So this is just very short about the women empowerment principles. Hello, Dimitrios from Greece and Shuva from Stockholm. Welcome you all. So during this event, I would really like it to be as interactive as possible. So you are welcome to ask questions, to share in the chat, to ask the questions in the chat, and also if it's to a specific person, to a specific guest here now, just write who you want to ask that question from. So there's also, I would like to ask you if you're working with gender equality, diversity, and inclusion, do you have any plans for the future? So like from 3 months from now, where will you be in terms of diversity, equality, and inclusion? Do you have any project or work that you are working on right now, or some idea of where you want to be when it comes to D&I? So if you have, please share it in the chat with us, because it's always so inspiring to take part of what you're doing and what you're aiming for. And it is really inspiring to see your vision for the future. So if you want to, please share it with us, and I will pick it up and show it to the world. That would be nice. All right. Let's see now. We have, I have some comments here. So I will give you some time to write it if you want to share where you want to be in 3 months from now. But I will take the opportunity also now to start to introduce our guests. So our first guest is Jacob Nielsen, and he's an international and senior business developer and also coach for entrepreneurs in leading innovative projects and startups. So he's situated in southern part of Sweden, and he has expertise in sales and investor pitching, and also raising capital and building diverse teams with focus on real sustainable growth and development. Jacob is also a frequently requested moderator and facilitator, and he's also a certified board member. So he has a diverse rucksack with him to share knowledge and insights with us. So I would like to welcome Jacob. Let's see if you are here. Yeah. Hello, Jacob.
Hello, Eva. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here. Nice to have you here. So I will just put up your name here, Jacob. Welcome. So where are you at right now? Where are you?
Yeah, so right now I'm in the office in Lund of Ideon Open. Ideon Open is a consultancy company helping innovation projects in large corporations, global corporations.
Yeah, and that is so interesting and exciting because, you work with impact and accelerating business, so large business, but you are bringing in the small.
Yeah, I'm working on innovation projects on a daily basis. So I'm business developing and coaching both founders and leaders in startups, but also projects and leaders of projects in large corporations, because large corporations are typically very good in doing what they can, but they are not so good in innovating themselves.
Wow, yeah, right.
So that is my work.
Yeah, and that is interesting now then to learn about how do you work then with D&I. I will call it D&I, diversity, equality, and inclusion. How do you include that in innovation or in your work?
Yeah. So I work with people, very
Mm,
close to people, and one thing that is the key, key theme of my everyday is innovation. And being able to work with innovation, you have to be reading the customers and what they are needing. Independent of if you're a startup or if you're a large corporation or a team of innovation project leaders in a large corporation.
mm,
And this is all about being able to hear and have the finger on the pulse in the market. And by working actively with diversity, listen to different parties and securing that you are aware of the needs
mm,
and including that in your decisions every day, you can build a much more valid
mm.
and validated innovation project. So I've been working with this the last 8-9 years, and I've been following startups, and I've been working with pairing entrepreneurs with investors. And actually, I choose to invest myself and start working more closely with one startup founded by a male and a female, so
Okay.
50-50.
Yeah.
Because I saw that they were extremely good in what they were doing. They have a fantastic competence mix in the founder team, but they had also this dynamics between male and female.
Yeah.
And as I was working with pairing entrepreneurs with investors for many years, I had a great network, and we were actively seeking a 50-50 proportion in the investment round as well. So
Mm,
we actually succeeded during COVID times to successfully raise the capital round from female business angels, from female
mm-hmm.
business syndicates, angel syndicates, and from a VC with a female portfolio manager,
Okay.
as well as from male. So we have a
Yeah.
50-50 investor group. And that
Wow.
also led to a 50-50 steering committee. So we have 6 people in the steering committee, 3 male and 3 female.
Uh-huh.
So I think by showing this example to people around myself and to leverage on the diversity from different experiences, different backgrounds, but also different genders,
Yeah.
we come so much longer in all the discussions and dialogue we have.
Yeah. So, but what do you think is what is difficult with to include diversity into the teams or the projects that you're running? What is the challenge?
I I actually personally I don't think diversity and inclusion is hard,
Huh?
because it's all about very small micro changes, and you could live these changes.
Yeah, right.
You could make the change in your environment, affecting the closest person in your environment. If you're working as an employee, or you're having your own company, if you're a manager, it's possible to make change now, today.
Mm. Mm.
You can decide in every step, in every aspect of your daily activities, to question the existing structures,
Mm-hmm.
to maybe ask yourself, did I include everyone? Did I let everyone's voice be heard? Did we note everybody's voice? Did
Mm.
we actually include their opinion seriously and
Mm.
analyzed, etc.? So, and I come across a lot of structures in my daily operations, working with steering groups, working with management teams, and they have, in many cases, been working together for years.
Mm.
And without having a formal structure, there is an informal structure, and there's maybe a norm. And I can see it clearly that by questioning the norm and maybe questioning the structures, one can make very big difference.
Yeah.
So are we missing out on customer groups? Are we missing out on behaviors? Are we missing out on untapped business potentials? Because in the end of the day, it's all about not losing potential businesses for either startups or large corporations when it comes to innovation.
Yeah. So it's kind of a checklist that you're going through, like have we included all? Have we thought about that? And, So as you say, take those micro steps to start to change and to start to act on it.
Yeah.
Because there are structures that are there, and we need to maybe break those norms and structures.
Exactly, and also when being assigned as moderator or facilitator in different events, normally it is in pretty decisive fora. So it could be in board meetings, it could be in board discussions, etc. Being facilitator is really, really key, that you have an ongoing dialogue with yourself, who has been talking and how long, etc. It's small but very, very important measures to take into account and really live it.
Okay, so you have the equality aspect in there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and that is also setting this board. There should be a diversity in the board setting, but then everyone should be included in the conversation too.
Yeah, right.
It's not okay if only one person take 80% of the airtime.
Yeah. So exactly, and as you say, as a facilitator or moderator or a leader, a manager, you need to be aware of these
structures
things that are happening, structures. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Well, and you said some benefits also from working with the diverse teams and diversity, as you say, 50, you had one woman, one man, 50-50, and then the board, and then the investors and everything. But what do you see, what are the benefits in teams or companies that work with D&I?
I think to have a too homogeneous group. So I have come across teams with 5 people of exactly the same age, the same gender, and the same background, the same education even.
Yeah.
And it's not that innovative. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
It might be super nice, but it's not innovative. They are not challenging really the status quo, because they don't have the possibility to. They can't look outside their own box.
Yeah, right.
So normally I challenge these kinds of groups by inserting other kinds of people. So it could be a different gender, it could be a different background, different age. So you could be a much younger or much older, and you can come in with totally different perspectives.
Yeah.
Now that's diversity. So, but also to be able to challenge, you have to have the inclusion in it. And without inclusion, it will not happen. It will just be toxic. If you have the diversity and you're not including the diverse different backgrounds or perspectives, experiences, things will never be innovative, even then.
No.
So that is really actively working. Then another aspect of it, working with startup entrepreneurs, for example, I've seen plural examples of or numerous examples of female founders that comes to, for example, pitching events and feel super uncomfortable because they're only male in the audience, it's a very male structure. You go up, you fire off your pitch, 3 minutes, and afterwards they tell me it's like putting some kind of one piece on yourself that it's not suiting. That format is not suiting myself.
The women say that. The
women say that. Okay. So working with these structures, how could we make this much more adjusted to the format that you want to present your startup idea with, for example? I'm working closely with a lot of different investors. One in Copenhagen called Unconventional VC.
Yeah.
They are focusing on. They are a VC, so they're a venture capital company. They're investing in underrepresented groups, so female founders, queer founders, founders with disabilities, etc. And they're also collecting the statistics, and it's depressing. So it's less than 1% of the capital raised during 2020 was to female founders companies. So 99% of the capital in the market
In
are raised
Sweden
in
or
Sweden.
in
Sweden,
Sweden. Okay.
yes.
Are
Uh, to the capital was given to male founders or mixed teams. 15% was mixed teams, but only 0.7% was to female founder alone.
That's
and this
horrible.
it's not acceptable at all, because we're missing out on female founders' ideas, and 50% of the population around the globe is female. So we actually have that untapped potential, and that is also one of Unconventional VC's findings. Money invested in female companies, female-led company, they tend to have a better revenue, better return on investment.
Yeah, right.
So it's irrational not to invest.
So you can see that also, yeah.
But then you also have to start measuring, because, so for example, the public organization in Sweden giving grants, Vinnova, they don't have any. They haven't until today made a review of how the funds are distributed based on gender. So imagine, and public grants, they are existing in all countries. So the iPhone is existing because of public grants initially supported research to find the parts and bits that then became the iPhone. But that was funded by governments. Super interesting books written about the entrepreneurial state, for example.
Yeah.
But it's so sad that it's not noted down.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jacob, for sharing all your knowledge and insights especially from the investor world, where you are, where you're at and operating, and your views on it. And well, I have some takeaways from you. That, I mean, it's you said that in the beginning, it's not that difficult, actually. You said that. And what you mean is also to do the small changes and be aware of it, and asking yourself, having an inner voice that is, picking on yourself. So that really good. Thank you, Jacob. I would love to have you more on stage, and people.
I let the stage for all the other ones. Thank you very much.
Well, people, you who are listening, I mean, just invite Jacob, and he can talk more about it, I'm sure, and you have a lot to share. So thank you for being here, and we will bring on our next guest, which will be, let's see, it will be Mats Lundberg. Mats has a little bit a different profile. He's also certified change leader for DNI, but he's a leadership mentor, and who supports leaders to get the best out of themselves and their teams and company. And he runs a mastermind for CEOs. Super exciting. And he have trained more than 100 mentors to support the young people, the young professionals, through the non-profit organization Drivkraft Malmö. That's in Skånish. He's also a certified trainer and coach in self-actualizing psychology, and has a passion for what we can become as individuals, organizations, and a society. So, Mats, welcome to the stage. Really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
And
Just a little note there.
yeah,
It's a
sure.
1,000 mentors. It's 1,000 mentors actually. But
Sorry, I said 100. I thought 100 was.
never mind.
Wow,
Never mind.
1,000. How have you managed that? Wow.
Well, it's over 10 years, so it's about 100 a year. I've been involved in a non-profit organization for 10 years now. So
Wow.
yeah.
And just tell us a little bit about it, because it's a mix of CEOs and young professionals, people, or young students, right?
Well, I work in two arenas. So
Yeah.
I have one leg. I am involved in this non-profit organization, and we really work for a better society. And the society we want to have starts with our young. So we focus on helping the young people, which is around 12 to 16 years old, and everybody has relationship when they were in that age. School, everything, the relationship between people, and what's the future I want for myself, and so forth. So I train people from all walks of life, but mainly from the business world, to become mentors for the young people and support them over a year's time. And I coach and support them in the process as well. So we help them individually. And I also run programs. I'm actually sitting right now and preparing for a full day of self-leadership for 30 young people, which are going to have a day of tomorrow, where we teach them skills and the ability to get the best out of themselves and the future they want, and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's one leg. And then,
sorry, I just the young people. How old are they?
The one I have now is 16 years old. It's an academy program, so it's a little bit different. But we find the young when they are between 12 and 15 years old. So that age, we work through the schools.
Amazing.
So we work through schools, find them through schools. We have close relationships with great many schools, and find the people through them.
Yeah.
So that's one leg. And leg where I work with, have a background, being a leader myself, and I had 110 people at the max that I was responsible for, and work in different companies, and really getting in there in that environment. So I have a lot of experience, what it takes to work in a business with all the pressures and everything that needs to be in place and so forth. And I have a passion for leadership. So I have over the years developed this understanding of how important it is that great people meet, get the best out of each other, really support each other, be able to be totally brutally honest with with each other of our shortcomings and our problems and so forth. And I think that's environment, that's the kind of network that I was missing when I was in that position. So I take small groups of 4 people that I coach over a year, and we meet in beautiful settings and have half days. We just open up for each other and support each other and so forth. So I call them masterminds.
So
and I think individual as well.
Yeah. So when you do this, you have the programs for young teenagers in school and everything, and then you have these more exclusive groups like 4 people and so. What are your thoughts about diversity and inclusion? How do you work with that more concrete?
Yeah, well, in the non-profit organization, I mean, it's all about diversity, equality, and inclusion. It's all we do all day long.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. So that's where it's given, and the people we attract, who I train in this and so forth, they're already on board. They have those values. We just highlight it and so forth. But, you wouldn't be a mentor for a young person, probably from another background than yourself. You weren't have that value yourself. So
just so people find you, and you mean that the right people who are already have the mindset of diversity, they find these programs?
Yeah. Well, we are out and speaking in companies and so forth, and through different ways, find people, attract people. Sometimes very specific. We have this young kid here who wants to be this, or have this challenge or whatever, and we seek somebody who resonates with that. So then you overcome like all these differences, and you see similarities in each other instead, and so forth. So that's in that arena. But in the business world, in the business context, when I go in as a consultant or I go in as a coach for a CEO and so forth, and a mentor, it's, I listen very carefully of what they value and what they stand for, and what they see themselves to be. I have a passion for lifting things. It's my thing. I don't know, probably where I've gone to the gym for 30 years. I don't know. I like lifting things. So when I see the potential of what they can be, there are certain values that I'm listening for, and how you talk about other people, and how you think about recruitment, and what you do in the company to have an inclusive, diverse, standard, which how I see it, like it's a standard.
Okay, so and I was like reflecting a little bit about Malmö. Actually, you work in Malmö, right? And you are also living in Malmö. So, and Malmö is a city with, what is it, 189 different nationalities or something like that, right?
Exactly, it's around there. I don't have the exact. I heard it recently though, but it's up there. Yes.
Yeah, right. And I think it's in the. I mean, New York and Malmö is actually somewhere close.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have kind of a diverse city, Malmö, here in the southern part of Sweden. But how about inclusion? Can you see? Are everyone included in the?
Well, that's the challenge. That's the challenge. There is a lot of work to be done to get people on board, and to sometimes give people a chance that is far from being they can be right in the personality, but don't have the skills yet, and so forth. So there is a lot of other interesting projects going on where we give people a chance to get on board and so forth, and have this inclusive environment. And I have the fortune to recently work with doing in the course here. And where I did my the work I did with my pilot. I worked with Rosengård Fastigheter, and Rosengård is like they're one of the most diverse part of Malmö. Of course, there are several, but they really live this. It's such a pleasure working with a company who gets it. And just help them just making it concrete, and the steps and so forth, to be able to show the world what they actually do, and really get it into everybody's the DNA is already there. The DNA of the company is already there, so it's just
they don't need a business case. You don't need to convince them. They are already convinced.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's
how did you help them then? What was your, how did they benefit from your work then?
Well, it's been able to show the world what they actually do. And that's the thing when working with sustainability goals overall, that you need to back it up with activities. You need to be able to show how far you have come in your goals with the different things. So that was the work we mainly did, identify the goals that they are really working with and are really on board with, and then just be able to show in the annual reports and so forth that this is what we do, this is the goals that are connected to this, and be able to show to what degree we have achieved this. So that was mainly the thing we did.
So I mean, and that is important to have role models or role companies. but then they need to express it also, be good at communicating what they do and how they do it. And so that's super interesting. So I just want to say to the audience that if you have questions, for example, to Mats, then just please ask and write it in the chat, and we will just bring it up and ask him. What do you think, Mats? Well, it tends like you work with, with people and companies that have the mindset. But what would you say is a challenge still with diversity, equality, and inclusion?
Well, I think that the main challenge, like the overall challenge, is that we're now starting to recognize that this is really important. I mean, this is fundamentally important for the future of our society, and just being like a good human being as a CEO, board, and so forth. Take your responsibility, but also the benefits that comes with it. But it's so easy to be in this shop front mentality. You recognize that this is important, so you want to be on board about this, and you have this. You portray yourself to be a little bit better at it than you actually are, and I think that's it's human nature. It's human nature, but I think it's super important that you be brutally honest with yourself, and if you're going to do this work, do it wholeheartedly. Go down to the details. Like, there are companies today. It's mind blowing, but there are companies today who have different salaries for men and women, who are like stock exchange companies and so forth. You need to really do a check on yourself and just get up to speed. And I think that there are those companies who are left behind, and we have the torchbearer, the role models. Yeah. And I think that's the most natural way things change. We have those who steps up, who shows the way, and those who are, reluctant to change. They want to be portrayed as they have done the change many times, but they don't have actually done the change. And when they see the benefits other companies do, and when they start to attract the workforce and the modern workforce and the talents and get people on board and so forth, they start to recognize we need to do this for real. And I think that it's no use to lead this horse to water that don't want to drink. Work with the ones who can be the role models, who can drive the change, and when others are ready, let's do the work.
Yeah.
So I think the challenge is, I think that's the challenge and opportunity.
To actually do the work, to start to act.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mats. You also, you have so much to share, and you're working with, compared to Jacob, you have different backgrounds, but still, it was so nice to have you in the group also, because that was a group dynamic, coming from different parts.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mats, for being here. And now we will continue our program. So the next person that I would like to invite on stage is Martin Horvath. He is business unit manager now for Reilos, which is an audit group consultancy company offering technical consultancy services in the areas of energy, buildings, industry, telecom, and infrastructure. So it's really heavy. It's a heavy technical company. And Martin he's deeply involved in D&I, diversity, equality, and inclusion, and also driver for change. He's been part of Kraftsamling 21, which is through his former company that worked for Vattenfall, and he was also involved in Vattenfall's D&I core group and systematically implementing diversity inclusion. So I would like to invite Martin on stage. Hello, Martin. Wow.
Hi, Eva. and everyone.
You have that water tower in your background. So where are you, Martin?
I'm in at our office in Malmö, and I have the Hyllie water tower in the background.
Cool.
Yes.
So that's a kind of a landmark for Malmö.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes.
Yeah. And you are. I know that you like Malmö
A lot.
a lot. And why is
A
that?
lot. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of relatives down here, and always wanted to go here when I had breaks from school and stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, the team.
Yeah. The team, the football
Malmö
team.
FF, football team, Malmö FF.
Right. I was a little bit slow there.
Yeah.
But who you don't know, Martin, he's sorry. I will just change the banner actually, so we have the correct name, Martin Horvath. You live in more northern in Sweden, in Trollhättan, or actually in Nordkroken, who is a small
Village.
place on earth. So Martin, actually, I just found out. I think it was last week that Reilos was announced as one of Sweden's top Swedish companies on the stock exchange that has diversity in the company. And as I could see, Reilos is on the level 19 of companies that are most diverse in Sweden. And last year there were 117. So there has been a change, a shift in the company, right?
Yes. There's been a big change. Actually, they have started to work a lot with gender and equality and inclusion, and our top management, they're 50-50.
Yeah.
And we also have started a group now that's called Grow 30, where we want Railers to grow and increase the number of women.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, at the company, we are 25% of women. And by the year 2025,
Mm-hmm.
we have a goal of being at least 30% women.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So, Martin, we have a question here. I don't know if you can answer it, but it's Muhammad who asks, how do you benchmark D&I for corporates interested to set a baseline? Do you understand the question?
Not really.
No. I was also like, how do you benchmark for corporates, companies interested to set a baseline? So, like a baseline, what would you say? Because you were also working for Vattenfall previously, and you worked with systematically implementing diversity and inclusion. So, how did you do that, or what did you do?
Yeah, it's if I can talk for Railers now, we are identifying how we are going to reach our goals. We are finding out which milestones we need to take and which activities that will be cooperated with the milestones. And that's something we started to work with 2 weeks ago. And the reason for that is actually since all of the research that is made actually shows that a diverse and equality company are more creative. We will get a better benefit as well. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we actually want to work with this question. And parallel to that, we also have a network for women at Railers called Strong, and that's a strengthening network for all the Railish women.
Yeah.
And they work a lot of achieve goals regarding salary, customers, employee satisfaction, and sustainability.
Okay.
And that's also one step to actually create a stronger group of women at Railish.
Okay. So
And me as a
yes, continue. Just continue.
yeah. And also me as a manager, I work with these questions every day.
Yeah,
since
that
I
was
have
the next question. So you
yeah.
just read my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you
Yeah.
do that as a manager? How do you?
As a manager, I work with it. When I have recruitments, also how I create my recruitment ads, and also thinking of. I think a lot of how I also include the women that I get into the company as well, because it's easy to get them in, but it's harder to actually to keep them.
Yeah. So what do
So
you
I
do?
work a lot. I work a lot with the culture of the including culture.
And
And
so
that
if you just give us an example, what could that be?
could be to actually work a lot regarding meetings, also get everyone to speak. We have a lot of homogenic groups, and me as a manager, I think a lot of how I set up the meetings. I want everyone to get their voice heard, feel included, because in many groups they're always often the same people that talks.
Yeah.
So I try to include everyone in the meeting so they will feel involved.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is that is actually what both Jacob and Mats said. Having the equal time for people to speak and let them speak, and yeah, that's interesting.
Yes,
So
it is.
yeah. So what do you find challenging with D&I? What are the challenging factors?
The challenges is to actually change the mindset of the manager and leaders, because in homogeneous groups they really need to get the challenge to attract, in this case, women to start working for them and change the mindset to create a more inclusive culture. And that's not only for women, it's also regardless of gender or background, age, whatever.
Yeah.
But the challenging thing is actually to get all the managers to dare to change their mindset. And there I have an idea of actually educate managers.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And since Railish is home of the learning minds, we will actually try to educate as many as possible.
So educating managers.
Yeah. And the manager will take the lead.
Wow.
Of the change.
I love that. Take the lead, dare to lead, and
Yeah.
Okay, so that is cool. So that is a program that you're running right now, or be?
Yeah, we are setting up our milestones now and a roadmap, and it will be finished in the spring of 2022. And then we will start working with our activities, and hopefully we will reach, we will reach our goal of 30% of women in 2025 on Railers.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that huge step you took from last year to this year on the Albrights list to become a more diverse and equal company. Awesome.
that should actually inspire the whole company.
Wow, yeah.
To make that change.
Right.
And we will have more fun at work.
Yeah, that is also, as you say, more fun at work, and to have a better culture, actually.
Yeah. Diverse teams is actually important.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Martin, for being here today. And you were also one in the group together with Mats and Jacob. And now we will continue to bring Urban up. But thank you again, Martin. And
thank you very much.
Well, Martin can also, you for sure, you can talk a lot about this. I know that. So just listening to Martin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Then we will continue with Urban Björn, and I will just change the banner. Urban, he has really extensive experience of driving the work for increased diversity and inclusion in large companies. And including he has had the role of being responsible for diversity and inclusion at Swedbank Group, which is a bank in Sweden. And Urban, he is also founder of his own company, Business as Equals, where he helps corporates to put gender equality, diversity, and inclusion into their leadership and culture. And he's also the author of the book. Ta-da! I have it. The book that is called Business as Equals, and it's based on lessons learned from 15 years of work that he has done as a manager and leader in investment and corporate banking. So I'm so super happy to have Urban here. Let's see if I can find you in the stream and put you up on the stage. Hello, Urban.
Hello, Eva. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's so nice to have you here. So, how are you, Urban?
I'm fine. I'm so glad you find my book, and maybe you have already read it as well.
So for sure. And you're not in the south of Sweden, right? You are.
No, I'm in the rainy Gothenburg today. As I used to say, you not live in Gothenburg because it's good weather. You live here because of other reasons.
So what reasons?
It's very nice people here. Yes, there's so much Malmö today. I have to say something about Gothenburg.
Yeah, of course you have to. So shoot, say something.
No, I think it's what is it called? You have this large brother complex from being the second largest city, but it has some good things actually. People are very nice to each other, very inclusive city. I think really.
Yep.
That's and I have worked in Oslo and Stockholm for many years, and I can see the difference actually. So I enjoy here, but the weather could be better. Yes.
Yeah. So that is actually a very interesting reflection. I think I tend to agree upon that with the cities. As we talk about Malmö being a diversity, but maybe not that inclusive. And I could also feel it when I'm in Gothenburg, that people are more inclusive. They are more inviting you in when you meet people on the streets or sitting in the restaurant, people start to talk with you, and it's a different kind of atmosphere.
And I think the thing is that people here are known for that, and then it will be self accomplished in some way, because people tend to behave more of this, because they like when people see upon a person from Gothenburg that way. Then it become a truth, because people are likely to be that way, because it's a part of the image, I think.
Yeah. So, right. So Urban, you have worked with a really, the financing industry and banking and such. And well, it is important as companies to be profitable, and so that is so interesting. And I would like to ask you, what I mean, from a business perspective, or from a financing perspective, what are the benefits of working with a D&I for companies? What would you say?
I would say that first of all, you have to, what kind of company are we, and what are the benefits for us? Because it's not the same for everyone. But because for some companies, the business potential is to mirror the customer base, for instance. That could be a good business potential, actually. For other companies, it could be to be more attractive for a larger group of people, actually. And that's also business potential. I work with a couple of companies now that has a big problem with this, because they have the gate into those companies are very narrow, or has been very narrow. And it has only been attractive to work there for small groups of people. Now they have to widen, and then they have to be inclusive. They have to look to be attractive for different groups of people, and that's a challenge, but that's also business potential. But the biggest potential that I think that most companies doesn't really realize is that the potential of diversity is that there are so many studies and research, on that people with different perspectives and different skills and different backgrounds and so on coming together in a team, the team will become more innovative and creative. And that's the biggest business potential of all. But people are I mean, some people and companies, they mix up with this. They think, okay, we have a large diversity. Okay, then we must have, then we're all right. Okay, we don't have to do anything. But the problem for many companies is that the diversity is on the lowest level in the company. In the quite simple job roles, and not that advanced skills, actually. So they often miss the inclusive part, because if they had inclusive, they would be able to have these persons on the levels where there are management teams, project teams, business development teams, and product development teams, and then you get the business potential. So quite many people mix up that it's not just having a diversity. You must have the diversity in the organization, and get rid of the hinders and barriers for them.
Yeah, you have an expression in Swedish, I know, with the dancing, right? You told me once.
Yes, I think it's called like this. If you have diversity, it's being invited to the party, right? Being inclusive is someone asks you to dance.
Yeah, right.
And then there is the third stage. You know what that is? That's actually when you come to the belonging part. It's when you can dance as no one look at you.
Right, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. It's really, it's a good way of remembering diversity and inclusion, and also, as you say, belonging to really be one. Wonderful. So do you have any, I mean, I love numbers, and I know a lot of at least my male collaborators also love numbers. Do you have any numbers for that, like increasing innovation and creativity and such? Do you have any on top of mind like that? Or is it?
You mean research or studies?
Yeah, research and studies.
Okay. Well, one that I always come back to is the establishment that McKinsey did already 2015, when they looked into, I think it was over 1,000 global companies, and they established the correlation between growth and profitability and diversity. And they said actually that 10% more of the diversity into the highest or the highest level of management led to 3% higher revenues.
Right.
And that's something that I come back to, certainly in groups where the business angle is more important than anything, actually. So there are some of these statements that's a way of making everyone interested in this area, actually. The business angle is important to get everyone listening.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, if we compare you and Mats is more, he's from the angle of, people are already having the right mindset, if we may say so. But then we have the other party that is more into profitable, managing companies and needs to have those arguments maybe.
Yeah, that's my experience. And when I started to work with these issues, when I was head of D&I at Swedbank Group, I realized quite soon that this was a way for me to reach them, the people that has maybe had not that interested in these issues, looked upon as, okay, we can afford doing things in this area when everything else important are done. So getting this area higher on the priority list was a way to do that, making a point through the business angle, actually. So, but it's also a matter of what kind of companies. I mean, some companies are more interested in having an environment where everyone feels free to be themselves, for instance. That could be a good reason for doing this. But many companies I work with are usually companies that have neglected this area for many years, I can say. And then there are some companies who've done a lot of things, but they haven't been able to do it in practice and make this sustainable, because that is maybe the most difficult part, to make it sustainable within a company.
Yes.
I mean, it's still a project in many companies. And then when this project is finished, okay, so we're done with that. Let's go back to the other things that we did before. And then it hasn't made any difference in behavior, in culture, or in the business as well. So that's the tricky part, actually, to make it sustainable, I think.
Yeah. So what are your recommendations to make it sustainable?
Now, first of all, I think that you have to transfer this whole area from the HR department to the leadership, because that is, I think it's so many companies still thinking about this area as an HR issue, and the HR department should just be supportive and giving tools maybe to help with, to help with this. But I don't think that it should be run by HR. I think that if you get the leaders and managers to understand that this is my responsibility, I need this, because I usually challenge leaders and say, if you don't put gender equality and diversity and inclusion in your leadership, you won't be able to be a manager in the future. It's a certain date, couple of years from now, which is not possible to be a leader if you are saying that this is not for me.
Yeah. So actually, what Martin, he just talked about it. The Railers, they are going to educate the managers and making the managers taking accountability for the D&I. So that, I mean, that means they're on track, right?
Absolutely. I think that's really good, because that's the first and most important step, I think. And then this will be self-driven, or what do you call it? Because the managers will continue and to work with this if they understand that this is because I would like to be a more attractive leader. And then you get the sustainability. You don't have to wait for another instruction or another diversity plan from the HR department.
Yeah, right.
So that's the most important, I think.
Yeah. So have you, I'm just curious about this. Have you got any response, receiving any response from colleagues or former colleagues that you now are so focused on D&I and work with D&I? Because you actually, I mean, you left Swedbank and started your own company. So what are the reactions?
I mean, I actually took the really big step before I left Swedbank, because I worked in this investment banking part, which is, I mean, 98% men, very result oriented, the next business, the next deal, and the next bonus. That was my life for 15 years.
Yeah.
So when I decided from that to move into HR, because I wanted to work more with leadership and with people, there was actually a guy asking me, did you do anything stupid? I mean, how did you end up in HR? So that was maybe, then it was more, okay, he has already decided to go that way.
Yeah. Well, that's so uninsightful.
Yeah, but, that's the stereotype you get if you are within a group of people that, okay, so everyone there should be like that. And when one in the group break out and do something else, this can be looked upon as, well, odd.
Odd, yeah, exactly. And the oddness is the greatness.
Yes, right.
to bring it in. So, but now that when you have your own company, and so do you get any other kind of responses, or what are the? I mean, being a male, because I don't know. I think in my own opinion, there are more females that work with D&I than men. So I think you have an advantage, and that's why I also decided to. I mean, you are 4 men here right now, so I think it's important to have you as ambassadors also for the work. But what are your reflections?
No, I think when I started this, there was a woman actually telling me that because I asked for a little bit of advice when I moved into the D&I responsibility for this Swedbank group, then I asked a woman who was very well. She had worked with those questions for several years, and she said to me that you must be aware of that there could be a woman in the room seeing you talking about gender equality and thinking that, okay, so now the men are going to fix this as well. So, and I bear that in mind sometimes, but I must say I've never heard anyone feeling that this is a problem, but the other way around, that it should be more men talking about this, I think.
Absolutely.
But it is, it's a matter of stereotype as well, and it's hard for men to engage in something that is not looked upon as male issues, actually. So I think so. So yes, that is an advantage. Absolutely, working with these issues, being a white middle-aged man, it's an advantage. Absolutely.
Yeah,
sorry to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, well, of course, men also has responsibility to talk about this, to talk about gender, but also about diversity and inclusion. So, I mean, more men. I mean, it has to be 50-50 here also, like, right?
Yes. But I think also that if you're going to train groups, the best setup is actually to be 2 or 3 people on stage that is more diverse, of course. When I worked at Swedbank, I worked with a woman from Estonia, and she was the absolute opposite from me in every sense. So that was very good, actually. We could show the diversity on stage for everyone.
That's fantastic. That was funny. Thank you so much, Urban, for being here with us today, and for having you on the event, and also in the course, and your knowledge that you shared with us. So thank you. And well, just again, this book is really, really great, and you can find it in bookstores also. So great work, Urban. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Let's see then. We shall move on because time is ticking here. And now we will have actually a woman on stage, and that is Eva. Her name is also Eva Boynton. And well, Eva, she works at Lime Technologies, and she is, well, she's a value-driven people and culture professional for Lime Technologies, which is a SaaS industry, and she will tell us more about it. And her work is focused on international growth and also focused on people and culture in operations, leadership support, and sustainability. And I found out, well, a saying that she had, that the contribution I make, this is Eva's words, the contribution I make to a better tomorrow is what gets me going. May it be finding our next colleague, improving our ways of working, or coaching a colleague to greater confidence. Wow, that's amazing. So, Eva, I will bring up you to the stage and welcome you. So, how are you, Eva?
I'm well, thank you. I'm kind of flustered. I feel like, wow, I'm almost starstruck by my own introduction.
Well, you're an amazing person, and well, we know each other from before. I worked with the eWork group by now, and now at Lime Technologies. So, Lime, tell us a little bit about Lime as a company.
Lime is a 30-year-old CRM software company. It was founded in Lund in Sweden.
Yep.
And we've consistently grown by about 20% per year, almost since the first years. We have moved from we were introduced on the stock market in 2018. We moved up to mid-cap last year.
Yeah.
During Corona, we opened our first offices outside of the Nordics. So we now have an office in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And we acquired a company in Germany in May this year. So we now have the first Lime GmbH, the first Lime company in Cologne in Germany.
Wow. Fantastic. So wonderful. So you work with people and culture, and also from an international perspective. So what could you say there? What are your insights, reflections, just to share with us like this spontaneously?
I think that my focus has been on engineering and tech. When it comes to driving growth, specifically with recruitment, I work kind of cross-company in the operations of how we do things and so on. And I think it's really challenging and fun and interesting to see that we have traditionally had a pretty homogeneous core of people, because we work with small and medium-sized companies primarily. And our promise is that they always have a representative who's fluent in the local language.
Yeah.
So for any position that has contact with the end users of our software, they need to be fluent in the local language. And then we have other parts of the company, like engineering. The software engineering teams don't have the end user contact, and they of course have a different than opportunity from a totally international talent pool. which is really interesting and challenging to have kind of different requirements for different groups. Of course, you always have different requirements for different groups, but in terms of putting the right person in the right place, it's kind of complicated sometimes when people apply for several jobs and they're eligible for some of them, they meet the requirements there, and then they can't apply for other jobs, and you kind of have to work through it. And also, to like, language in Sweden is I think one of the tougher parts of the diversity work, because Sweden has a tradition or a mindset that you aren't fluent if you're not, if it's not your mother tongue. So if you have an accent, if you're, if you have an accent, then people don't see you as fluent, but you might well be. And I know that in many other countries, when you have an accent, it's seen as a wider skill set. That, okay, you know more languages. Well, that's great.
Interesting.
And it's viewed as a strength because, of course, you have an accent. I clearly understand everything you're saying. That means that you also have this amazing toolbox aside from what I can understand.
Yeah, right.
I would like, that's one of the things I really want to push for, to kind of open our mindset and challenge ourselves to be more open-minded, I guess. I think we are doing a really amazing work. One problem, though, I think probably not just in Sweden. I assume that it's at least European-wide, because it has to do with GDPR. But you can't store and save sensitive information on people. So we're not actually allowed to kind of make a full assessment of the diversity that we have. So we have to work in different ways to implement systematic strategies to increase diversity and inclusion.
Right. So you're talking about measuring and having data to measure. And that is so interesting, because we've talked about having activities, having a plan, having an activity and do it, but then measure and see the progress. And now you're mentioning that, well, we have a problem with the data handling. So how do you do it then?
We do several different things. So from a data perspective, we have pulse surveys, and through the pulse surveys, we're currently using Office Vibe, we can track how our employees feel about the inclusion. So they can rate from 1 to 10 how they perceive the inclusion in the company. So that's one thing, and I think that's a really important thing, because of course we want to know if you feel like you are in an inclusive environment. The other thing is that, I do like data, but I also know that if the questions are misinterpreted, you don't really get the truth. So the other thing is that I have open discussions that are company-wide. Anyone throughout the company, in any position, in any part of the geography that we're in, can join these open discussions, and we talk about these topics. And of course, not surprisingly, many of the aspects that we talk about have recruitment as like the origin, or the source of like the questions. So in recruitment, which happens to be one of my areas, we analyze the language we use, what requirements we have for positions, and we test the ads on our current employees.
Okay.
So
you test your ads on your current, on your
we want them to say, okay, yes, I would apply to this, or no, I would never apply to this. This has like a really long list of requirements, and I'm not sure where I fit into this, and so on. So we get them, and I also encourage and use actually my colleagues to write the ads. So I get them to kind of draft an ad, and then I can rework the ads.
That's also interesting, because Martin, he talked about it, about the ads, and having as you say, different wording, and you as a professional, I mean, in the people and culture, you can catalyze that work, and look at it with different eyes, and your knowledge, and catalyze how ads could be more inclusive, and maybe speak to a more wider diverse audience, right?
Yeah, for example, we have a team in Gävle.
Gävle, okay.
Yeah,
it's in the
it's north of Stockholm. And so Gävle has a Swedish office. It's one of the acquisitions we made a couple of years ago. So the first recruitment process I opened with them, we were discussing the requirements, and so, oh, well, we're a Swedish office, and it's easier with the communication if the person speaks Swedish. And then we talked further, and then it's like, oh, but their dream candidate would be Stavros, who is one of the senior developers in Lund. But Stavros is from Greece and does not speak Swedish. So actually, when we, went further into the discussion, Swedish wasn't really that important. It feels like, okay, we have a Swedish office. It would be easier probably if you don't speak Swedish, it might be, you might not feel included, and that. But then when it comes down to it, when you say, okay, so is it more important that this person knows the tech stuff, can be a mentor, has all these qualities, works well with people, and so on, or is it more, if we find someone with all those qualities, is it still relevant what language the person has? No. Not so relevant if you're good at your, level of communication in whatever joint language you might find.
So it's important. I can just catch it, that it's important that you question yourself and your beliefs and assumptions. Are they really true, or can we?
And also, one of the things that recently I have a hang up on this thing. So one of the truths that I've heard throughout my career has been that the best developers you find among the people who had Commodore 64, these game consoles and stuff from the 80s and 90s, and started coding with their kids and so on. And I mean, of course, that means that you have longer experience in the field. But if you recruit with that mindset, you're not going to find any women.
No.
Because women did not
I had a
grow up.
Commodore 64.
Okay, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. But from like my background, from studies been made, from my experience in my work life, I've just felt like this is excluding a really big part of the candidate pool, and undervaluing the qualities that you find in a more diverse candidate pool, because I'm sure that it also ties into, do you have the socioeconomic background? Even if you are a man, did you have the resources? Were your family, your parents, were they educated, and did they have the resources to give you these, I mean, back in the day, quite expensive toys and so on.
Right. Well, thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You were saying? Yeah. Just
I go on.
I know you have so many good ideas and so much to share. So Eva is a great person to have in just invite her and in a roundtable discussion also. So thank you so much, Eva.
Thank you for having me.
So we will continue our last guest, which is actually Helena. And I can see that you are there are some comments here. I just want to pick them up before we continue with Helena. Ida, she writes that she has, I have also changed my career from working as an engineer, working with supply chain in the cement and mining industry worldwide, but are now teaching science in international school in Sweden. Wow. That's also like doing change in the career from one from one part to another part, like Urban did with from banking to becoming an entrepreneur and having his own company, for example. Yeah, so there are some other comments here. How do I find out these issues when looking at companies? I'm not sure what you mean, Christina. You could maybe rephrase your question and we will bring it up. Back to Helena. Helena Tinnert. She is a person that I happen to know years back ago. She has been working in companies together with me also. But today she's a resilient leader, change leader, with a passion and the mission to find potential in people and processes, and have the courage also to develop that potential. And I happen to know that because Helena is also one of my, or is the head coach in the programs that we are running at Vatis. And Helena, she believes in a future equal by design. And she's also the founder of Good Growth, where she grows people, businesses, and markets in a wholehearted way, leaving no one behind. So let's see, Helena, where are you? I will invite you to the stage. Helena, welcome.
Hello.
Here you are. How are you then?
I'm so fine. I'm enjoying myself, listening to my course colleagues, and it actually reminds me that I miss our coaching sessions where we have been talking diversity and inclusion for quite some time, and now it was a couple of months since we ended, so I'm really missing those guys, and it's been wonderful to listen to you.
Yeah, right. Helena, you're actually on Öland right now.
On Öland, yes. Yep. This is where you can say on Öland.
Yeah. Because it's an island.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So being on an island, and I know that you're traveling also to the mainland. Well, we talked a little bit with Urban about the cities and different, feelings about it. Do you have any like insights to share about that? Being on an island, how does the island work with diversity and equality and inclusion? Do you have any reflections on that?
Well, a short reflection, I think we are very proud of our island. We are very, very keen to actually tell people that we are on Öland. And we also, I think we support the local business, the local community, and also sometimes we are mixed up with Småland, which is the mainland, and then we are very keen to say it's Småland and Öland. In national terms in Sweden, they talk about Småland and the islands, and they mean Gotland and Öland. And I think it's pity because it's Småland, Öland, Gotland. So, well, I think the pride is actually running through our veins.
So being pride, is that, or proud, I mean, is that could that be an obstacle for inclusion?
You know what I usually say, right? I think it's about having two truths, one in each hand. And when you combine them, you actually find something very, very valuable. So, I mean, to be proud where you're from, I think everyone should be. But you should also have the openness to bring in other cultures, people, diversity, and then include them into your space. And to do that, I think you need to use your curiosity to actually listen to people. We tend, as humans, we tend to think, as I do now, think more about what we want to say instead of actually listening in what people have to tell you.
Right. So, and that's a challenge. That is to actually listen and not to talk, all the time and tell what's on your mind right now. So, do you have any tricks for that? Do you have any, how do you do it? That's maybe a hard question.
No, but I think it's I think it's about going inwards to actually see your challenges, to be brave enough to see your challenges in this, and then to own it with your heart, that you want to listen to people, and to put them in the center, because every person on this earth want to be seen, want to be heard, and they want what they say to mean something to those who are listening to them. And if we could do that a lot more, then I think we would solve the inclusion part of this diversity equality puzzle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because it is, I think it's, from my own perspective, it is a challenge to listen, and at the same time having an opinion and wanting to say that opinion. So training on that I think that's also like a training education thing about how to be a leader and communicate and make others talk and listen to that. So what would you say, if you tell us just a little bit about how you have worked with D&I in from different angles, how have you used D&I in your work?
Well, I would say that my commitment to these issues actually started long before I knew they were starting. I am, from the beginning, a soccer player. I was usually called boyish, which is something I don't like. And I also have, through living with disabilities, I know that people have a tendency of putting labels on you, talking about you instead of with you. And so I think it's an interest that has actually grown over the years. And then I had the fortune of actually listening into Malala when she didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize the year before she actually got it. And she said that she was honored and proud, but her mission was not to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Her mission was to put education and school for every boy and girl on this planet. And she touched me so deep. So I started to actually work with myself and see, how can I, if she can do that, maybe I can do it. And so she became my role model, and I try to see myself as a role model for myself and for others, because we have a lot of young girls and boys coming after us that need to have people to look up to see how you can work with these issues. So I went to Africa, South Africa, and met with girls, helping them to be able to play soccer, to higher their self-esteem. And I noticed that if I never mentioned that I'm an engineer and so on, but in South Africa, if I mention this title of engineering, I'm invited to the table. So I used that and got knowledge about all the issues that was facing the girls of South Africa. And I said, this is not okay for me. And this is quite how I work with values. This is not okay. We need to do something. And once again, we saw the problem. I tried to own the problem with my heart and my engagement. And then I also have been trying to solve their problems for a long time now. And it's something that really touched my heart. But also through this course, I've also found my voice to talk in a way that can make people listen about these issues. So every time I have an opportunity of entering the stage as a thought leader, or in a small group of people, or in a team in some way, I try to raise this question because I think they are so important. We are facing huge challenges around the world with the climate and so on. And if we are supposed to solve those challenges, we need to invite every person. And that's actually what brings me to the work.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to listen to you. And you have all of you have different perspectives regarding D&I, and your perspective is also so inspiring. And with your background, as you say, you also have a disability with you, and you have been into other situations that you can use that knowledge, to something really constructive and moving people. I think you move people and transform them. So that's why you are head coach at.
Well, Eva, I just need to say that I think that we how should I put it? Now I'm thinking again instead of talking. Maybe that's a good thing. But in Sweden, we are privileged. We are so privileged. Of course, I have a disability, and of course, we need to put things into perspective, because my disability is nothing compared to other people's disabilities, and it's nothing compared to whether I would be born in another country. So I'm a white woman, which gives me a lot of privilege. Disability, yes, but maybe I can be that voice for people that don't have the voice, or whose voice are silenced. And that is actually why I put my effort into what I do every day. And Urban was talking about being invited to the party. Having disabilities means that you're not always invited. It means that people think maybe you shouldn't dance. But I enjoyed what he said about dancing as no one are looking. I would like to be able to dance even if everyone were looking. If you get a chance to dance, you should dance. And maybe you don't need to be the dancer. Maybe you can be the dance.
No, that's even better. Wonderful. I love that. So, Helena, do you have any 3 tips of getting started with D&I, diversity, equality, and inclusion, like some quick, for a company, for an organization? How do they start the work? What should they do?
First of all, I think everyone as a person or an organization or a company should take accountability for the situation that they are in or are running, which means that they need to rise above their circumstances and try, as I said before, see the problem, own the problem, solve it and do it. And keep asking, as number 2, maybe keep asking the question, what else can you do? And then try to change your mindset so that you always work with persistent transformation and adaptation.
Yeah, that's great, and you can help them also with that by being a coach. So that's wonderful. And actually, I will, as I said in the beginning in this show, we will also talk about the program, the certification course for diversity, equality, and inclusion. And there is a bonus this time, because we will open the cart for the certification course today and now. And the bonus is Helena, because Helena is, you will get free coaching from Helena during 6 months, which is worth of, well, we did a calculation, 24,000 Swedish crowns. So, and that's just a bonus for the course. So I will tell people more about it, but I just wanted to say it because here is your coach. Well, thank you, Helena, for sharing your really, truly, heart-filling insights, I think. So any more last advice, because you always have something catchy?
Well, I believe in the greatest gift is to give, but you need to give in a way that your soul is thriving when you see other people succeed. So I would just end with making another shoot out for Urban's book. I can really recommend it. So this is a good read, good examples. Easy read as well. So thank you, Urban.
Yeah, he's here in the green room listening to you. Thank you so much, Helena, and see you later. So thanks again. Let's see, we will continue now and talk a little bit more about the certified diversity, equality, and inclusion leader course. What is that? So this is a live broadcast on LinkedIn, so it would be nicer if you were in front of me and I could ask you why you actually showed up. What was it that what made you show up today? So if you are working as a leader today, a manager, or are you working with transformation, maybe perhaps, or maybe you are interested in this area to reskill and upskill for the future within D&I, because it is getting a attention now, and it's getting more important for companies to work with it, and that is just simply because it's more profitable and sustainable to work with diversity, equality, and inclusion. So that is, I'm not sure why you showed up, but you may, just write in the comments field what made your heart tick or your brain tick when you have listened to all these amazing people, and what are you interested in to learn more about. So just write it in the chat, and I will share it with, or I will answer it. But the time has come to act for diversity and inclusion. And since we are opening the course right now, today actually, we are also, we had a challenge on social media. We are also going to choose a winner for that course. So we had a challenge with a couple of questions, And we have this, it's fun to give away a course for free also, but you have to have answered all the questions correctly, and also motivation on why you want to enroll in the course. So the course, it is an online digital course for about 10 weeks, but you do it in your own pace. And by doing the course, you will be able to help companies to become more sustainable and profitable, because what you will learn is to understand what is needed to make the transformation, and how do you connect the tools that you will be learning to the company strategy, and also how do you communicate it. So it is to give you a plan of actually starting the transformation at a company. And also in the course is that you apply your knowledge that we teach directly to a pilot case, which could then be a company, your company, or a company that we match you with. And Mats told us about his case, Rosengård Fastigheter. That was his pilot company, which he found, and he wanted to work with them. So he took contact with Rosengård Fastigheter and started to implement his learnings into that company. But if you don't have a company in mind, then we can match you with one. So we are at that moment where we are going to raffle the winner for the certification course. And let's see if Sarah is here. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can bring up Sarah to the stage. Yes. Well, here you are.
Yes. Hi, I forgot to put on the camera. I'm like,
yes, I saw. Well, Sarah, I just want to say to you all that Sarah is one of our co-workers on Avati, and she's an amazing person. Really. So thank you so much, Sarah, for everything that you are doing. I just wanted to say that.
Overwhelming here, but yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, but before we start to raffle the winner, I have a comment here I just want to put up, because it was like I didn't read the whole one, but Ann-Charlotte, she writes that I think we have the mission to get together and make an impact. D&I is not only a nice topic to make companies more profitable, it is crucial to change our society. Yes, it is. Thank you for that. So true.
Summarizes very well.
Yes, it does. And that is actually what also Mats was saying, more or less, that it's really important, not just from a profitable and sustainable perspective, but from a societal and human perspective. I mean, it's a no-brainer, but still we have difficulties to make the change. And that is what the course is all about, to have the tools to lean onto and do the change and the transformation. So
everybody should take the course.
Yeah. So tell us, we had the challenge.
We have a challenge, and I have the names of all the who participated and answered correctly here. But before I will raffle, we also had maybe people can say if they are here, because it was a condition that you need to be here also in order to win. And while people maybe write in the comments field, I will go through the questions that you needed to have answered correctly to in order to win.
Yeah. So just a moment there, just that you really need to be here. We tend to do this. Well, actually, for other courses also, we tend to have one winner, but you need to be present.
Yes.
And also, if you hear your name, you should write it in the comments field so that we know that you are here. And if you're not here, then you will choose another one, right, Sarah?
Yes, we will have to choose another one. Yeah.
Up until now, we haven't had done that, but
no,
who knows?
some time might be the first time, but we hope the one we will pick will be here now.
Okay, so I can see actually there are Robot is here, Adriana is here. They say I'm here. Okay, good. So if you're here, just do a thumbs up or just say that I'm here. So then we know. Okay.
So in the meantime, I go through the questions. We had 3 questions you had to answer correctly to. So the first one was, how many years from actually 2020 will it take for the world to reach gender parity according to Global Gender Report 2020? And the correct answer is 99.5 years. 99.5. Most of you had guessed correctly here. Although I want to say that just from last year up to this year, 2021, in 1 year, this number that it will take 99.5 years to reach gender parity is actually now up in 135 years. And that has more or less, everything to do with COVID and the situation in the world due to Corona, the COVID and lockdowns and the consequences in the societies. So that's a really sad development that, 99.5 years is crazy much anyway. And now it's up to 135. So,
but, 135, it makes me depressed.
Yeah. So we need to see it in a bigger picture. Some things are going backwards, some things are going forward, but we need to again bend this curve and make it far less like this was a dip, but the number was up due to Corona, like many other things due to Corona. But let's work together to change this. If it can change that much in 1 year, we can change it back in 1 year also, and much lower than that. So let's go for that. But I just wanted you to, it's something to think about, really.
Yeah.
And then the second question was, in a workplace, inclusion means that everyone in the diverse mix feels involved, valued, respected, treated fairly, and embedded in the company's culture. Or empowering all employees and recognizing that their special talents is part of creating an inclusive company. Or both of the answers was the third alternative. And the correct answer is, of course, both of these things. That in a workplace, inclusions means that everyone feels seen and heard and are respected and embedded in the company's culture. And all of you have answered correctly to that question. So that's very, very happy. I'm happy to see that. And then the third and last question you needed to answer correctly to is, what is diversity? So diversity refers, among other things, to political beliefs, ethnicity, culture, sexual orientation, religion, class, age, and gender. Or in the workplace, diversity means your staff consists of individuals who bring new perspectives and backgrounds to the table. Or the third alternative was both of above. And again, all of you have answered correctly that it is both of these answers. So the first is like, what is diversity and what is diversity in the workplace? So this is also by doing these questions to answer this, one also get to think like, oh yeah, this is diversity, this is inclusion. So questions you learn from, or you learn from all questions more or less, actually. But yeah, so that was the correct answers. And then of course, the fourth question is like, why should that you have some thoughts about why companies should work with diversity, equality, and inclusion. And the fifth question is to motivate why you should win this course. But those answers I will only read from the ones who win. And so let's see.
Yeah, you are going to pick one now.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Okay, here is.
Let's see. It's always so exciting to see who is the winner.
Yeah.
Who will be the winner, and if the winner is present.
And if the winner is present.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen this name, but we'll see. Monica Simon. Or Monica Simon. I'm not sure if she's Swedish or English.
I think she was present
you seen her?
in the beginning. I think I saw her comments that she was saying hi, but she has to be present now and announce that she's here.
Monica Simon or Simon.
Monica, are you here? Let's see if she's here, because she is. What was the name again?
Monica. I guess Simon, but it could.
Yeah, she was here. I'm just putting it up because that is her.
From Hungary. Yeah, Monica Simon.
But let's see if she.
She was here in the beginning.
Yeah. So actually, I mean, if she was here, and one doesn't know about the internet connection and such. I think I will be judge here.
Yeah, you're the boss. You decide. Shall I read her motivation or not? Is she the winner?
Okay, so let her give it to her, because she was actually present, and one doesn't know what the internet, because I had some troubles also with the internet connection earlier today. But
so should I just, even if she's not like present, should I just read a little bit
about her motivation? Yes.
Yes, I will just look it up. So 1 second. And find her name here. Okay, so she says, to the question why companies should work with this, she has a long answer, but I will make a short version. She says that companies should work towards diversity, equality, and inclusion because, first of all, it creates a thriving and successful business. Of course, so great. And so why does it do this? Because different people with different backgrounds, gender, and age can collaborate on issues and share their different expertise. Secondly, this would be embedded into the company's culture, and therefore employees would not feel the need of the unhealthy competition, which results in a healthier and stress-free environment. And thirdly, it could also lower the chance of mental health issues on workplaces and happier employees. Wow. I love that answer.
Good. That is reasons. Really good answers. Great. And so Monica, I will just congratulate her, because she will be the winner then. And so happy for you that you will participate in the course. And so welcome on board. And welcome also
everyone else who wants to join.
Because we are opening it up now. It's the day that we start to open it up, and we will have it open for 7 days to enroll it. And also I will send out emails for you, because I couldn't share my slides with you because I had also trouble with the internet here. So I will share some information with you about the course, because as I said, there are to sign up in a short period of time, it's 7 days, we have 2 bonuses. And the first bonus was about the coaching, which is Helena is the head coach for the program. So I'm the course leader, and Helena will be the course coach. And also, I'm so happy to say that another bonus is actually this book that Urban Björn has written, and we have read it. I know that not just me and Helena, I think Jacob also read it, and a couple of others in the group. And it's a really great book. It's easy to read, and it's very informative. And so that will also be a bonus from us to you. So
I I was just thinking, maybe you could just post, I'm actually not sure how I can do it. If you can just post the link to the course in the comments field also, like where they can read more about the course.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it from here in the chat.
I didn't know how to do it from, yeah, you could, yeah.
I could? Okay, great.
Yeah, you could, perfect. I could not do it from this backside where I'm now.
Yeah, right.
So great, so people can click, you can all click and of course come back to us with questions if you have any. And
yeah, so exactly. So that is a description of the course, and I will send out some emails for you now. And yeah, you're welcome to join. And thank you all for being here with us. And thank you, Sarah. I will just put you back on the stream. Thank you for raffling the winner. So everyone, I want to thank you for being here and also asking questions to the our guests and so. And if you want to interact more with them, we have on our landing page the names and the link to LinkedIn, so you can connect with them on LinkedIn. And just please share your contacts also if you want to be contacted. And I hope that this was inspiring and giving you some I don't know, new knowledge, insights, new perspectives. And I think I just want to summarize it with well, I believe in that the dare to lead and be the change you want to see in the world. So start to act, start to do those changes, and be that change, so that we can have the ripple effect on everyone. So thank you again, and have a nice evening, because it's 3 o'clock here in Sweden. So thank you again, and have a nice evening. Bye.